there is a more elongated version on this. It goes, kind of just it builds on itself. Each lesson will build on itself. I think there's 5 or 6 lessons. If you want to watch the more extensive version, it'll give you a more fuller picture, especially if you are actually wanting to learn this. But in general, what the belief is, and the truth versus the myths, and the general things like that. What we believe has to occur for it to even be potentially possible. Physical shapeshifting is considered among ancient paganism possible, but really, really rare. And it's really, really rare because nowadays, most people nowadays do not have the gift, or if they do have the gift for it, there's so many things requirements basically that you would have to meet in order to be able to be strong enough to even do it, which I'll get into in a minute. Modern paganism doesn't dabble in it because they don't believe in it, but really, we've only stopped believing the past 150 years, when all the knowledge and wisdom mostly died out from our ancestors. 2 things happened. Some of it really, it just died with them because of the witch hunt era. It just died with them. But some of it actually, because of that same era, a lot of us went into hiding. And even if we did survive, a lot of our ancestors didn't always tell the children because they didn't want their children to be a target. And so you even have things that like these mythical creatures and things that people will say in ancient paganism possibly still do exist, depending on what it is, obviously, but that you're never going to see it unless it really wants you to see it, because they are also in hiding. Really, anything physical and tangible is not going to, any kind of proof, any physical tangible proof like shape-shifting or something, is not going to just be out in the open for you to see. You're going to have to go find it, and actually, it's hidden for a reason. I mean, if there was proof of it, I'd rather be seen as a lunatic than believed by the wrong person, by somebody that, would be wishing of malice had they know the truth. But let me put it this way. In ancient paganism, this is what we believed up until the last 150 years. That is not long in history. That is like, the rest of humanity, tens of thousands of years versus 150. What we believe for tens of thousands of years is that, it's something that typically you have to be born with. Typically, no, it's not a spell. And unlike theatrics, to be able to do this, especially with no ill consequence, but really to be able to do it at all, it's said that you have to be really, the opposite of what you see in theatrics, where you see these evil spells and the werewolf things. It's actually quite the opposite of that. It's that you have to be, the strongest that you possibly can be, both in your mind and your body and your soul. And, if you're not mind, body, so strong enough and balanced enough, if your chakras are not 100% balanced, even if you just have, a partial imbalance somewhere in one or more of your chakras, that is enough that even if you have the gift for this naturally, even if you are born like this, that will be enough to prevent that gift from ever actually rising to the surface. There's what I like to call a shield, for when you're not strong enough or ready to shift, a natural shield there. And it's there because if you push past it anyway and try to shift anyway, if you try to force that, then things can be detrimental. If you're not balanced and strong, literally you can tear organs in half, something can rupture. But if you're balanced, it should not hurt at all, really. It feels maybe a little odd and uncomfortable. But in ancient paganism, we don't think about science, okay? Magic is never meant to follow logic, okay? They're two separate worlds. And what we believe is that the spirit is what dictates whether or not it can happen. This is a manifestation, a physical manifestation that is 100% controlled by your spirit, by your soul. Your body, has very little to do with it. It's your spirit that is controlling the body to shift the body. And so, things go wrong if, like I said, chakras are a direct connection to our physical selves, but they're also the health of our soul. So when things go wrong, it's because of that imbalance. And I do apologize, it's getting dusk. Hopefully I can finish this before it gets completely dark on me. But what I'm trying to say is, most people nowadays have an imbalance somewhere in their chakras. And also, most people nowadays are not shapeshifters. Actually, there's a lot of what I call animal soul or animal, Therian, animal soul, really anything like that. Shifter, is technically a little different than an animal soul or Therian, or at least it can be. Yes, we do have animal souls, meaning that, basically that's what our soul is. Even if that's not what our body is, that's what our soul is. We've had many, many past lives as an animal, something other than human. And that's what our soul is naturally, okay? But a lot of people that are animal souls do not have that gift to actually shift, okay? And they may potentially shift in the dream realm, but they don't have the ability to shift in the physical realm. It's a totally different thing when you're talking about physical. And it's something that is so rare that even if somebody has potential to do it, the odds are against them in today's society, I'm sorry to say. But in today's modern world, the odds are against them to be able to mind, body, soul be strong enough and balanced enough to actually do that. So if you are balanced though and strong and you're actually ready to do this, like I said, there shouldn't be any pain involved really. You're going to feel, the first thing you're going to feel is tingling. It'll tingle and it'll start getting really numb, like Novocaine. It kind of feels like that for a while. And then you'll feel muscles and bones kind of shifting. And if there's any imbalance anywhere in any of your chakras, you will know, because as soon as you start shifting, it'll say it'll go, your fingers into your arms, and then it'll get into, start to get into the rest of your body. Well, as soon as it hits a chakra that is weak or wounded, it is going to hurt like fuck. You're either going to be really painful or you're not going to be able to breathe, depending on the chakra. Really painful, not able to breathe, sometimes not able to move or breathe, or you're going to be violently ill. And it all depends on what chakra, but that's what you run into. All of a sudden, everything was going fine, but once you get to that chakra, everything just, and basically usually the pain will snap people out of it just instinctively. They'll snap out of it and it'll stop. So there's not like anything you have to actually worry about. You know, the only time that you need worry is if you're forcing to push past the pain when you're not ready. Then there's literal, like I said, physical, literal possibility that you could tear something, rupture something. I'm not joking. So if you feel pain, stop, obviously. Our ancestors viewed shapeshifters, I say most of our ancestors, viewed shapeshifters as, you know, basically that we've had, I mean, this just doesn't come out of nowhere. It's said that anyone that is a shapeshifter, you know, that is a literal part of their soul. And you cannot be something that your soul is not. I talk about this a lot. So basically, you can't choose what you want to shift into. If my soul is wolf, then I cannot shift into a lion. I can only shift into a wolf. And so that's another misconception, that people think it's about choosing. No. You have to have at least a piece of your soul that actually literally is, say, a lion, to shift into a lion. See what I'm saying? And these crazy theories out there with they try to put logic where magic should be, and I don't want you to get stuck on logic because it's ridiculous. It's magic, okay, people. It's magic. People think that, you know, they believe in it, but they think that you have to be the exact same mass when you shift or something stupid like that. And I'm sitting here to tell you it does not matter, large or small. It doesn't really matter. Whatever you shift into, it goes by what your spirit is, not by the mass of your body. That is ridiculous. Just ridiculous. So the last thing I want to touch base on before it gets completely dusk and blackens the screen is that it's not something that you can do typically with ill intent. Like, it's just kind of goes against the laws of the universe. I mean, you can try, but this is such difficult magic even for people with pure intent. And it's said to really, I mean, be nearly impossible to achieve if you're doing it out of ill intent. I imagine that if someone of ill intent did actually achieve this, it'd be immensely painful, and they, you know, might not even survive the shift, honestly. But, you know, to say that it's some kind of spell or ritual that, you know, was birthed from this curse and whatever, that's just theatrics. That's not what it really is. That's never what it's been. In a very rare circumstance, maybe, in a very rare circumstance with a very rare kind of ritual, maybe, if you had sacred permission, and there were a lot of technicalities, and I don't even know what that would be. But typically, you know, we're talking about people that are born this way. And it is said that, you know, the reason why a lot of these animal souls cannot shapeshift anymore is because they literally, it's not that they're not ready. It's not that they have potential but are not ready. No, that's not what I mean. They literally don't have permission by the universe. They're not shifters anymore. They literally cannot shift, no matter how hard they try. They're not shifters anymore. They're an animal soul stuck in a human's body, and that's it. They are that way because that's part of their threefold from a previous life. If they're animal souls but they cannot shapeshift, a lot of times, not always, it actually means it's a punishment from a previous life. You did something really bad and now you're paying the price for it.